scroll in and see everybody's comments. Hello, Estella, how are you? Hello, hello, hello. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Julie Samaco, owner of Southern Charm Wreaths, where we make beautiful wreaths and teach you how to make and sell them. In this video, we're going to be making a multi-ribbon bow. I know everybody loves to make bows, wants to learn to make bows, challenged with making bows, and so this video is for you guys. Hey, Angela, over on the YouTube channel. What I did was, I'm going to make two versions of the bows, okay? I'm going to make one using a bow machine, and then I'm going to use one hand tie in it, okay? So you can get kind of the best of both worlds, because I know, hey, Gwen, I know a lot of people have a hard time tying a bow with their hand because they might have arthritis or something like that. So I'm going to show you both ways. Wanda has her decorations down. Yeah. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year. So what I did was I did measure it for you. Okay, so you guys can start with the perfect measurements and get off to a good start. I'm going to be using my Easy Bow Maker. I guess I'll turn it this way so you can see the numbers. So this was, I just got this off of Amazon. So there's an Easy Bow Maker. The first thing I'm going to start with is a tail. So the tail is 20 inches long, and I'm using a 4-inch ribbon. All of my ribbon is wired. I'm going to zoom in so you can see just a little bit better. So all of my ribbon is wired. Make sure you're using good quality wired ribbon when you're doing your bows. You're just going to be more successful when you're doing that, okay? So whenever you try to get some of the cheaper ribbon or ribbon that doesn't have wire, typically it's harder for those who are trying to learn to make bows. So start with some really good quality ribbon. I bought this, this is from Greenery Market, this 4-inch. It's really pretty. It's got all of the plaids for all of the colors, the traditional colors for Mardi Gras. I just think that's pretty. And it's glittery and shiny, which I feel like you need for Mardi Gras. All right, let's just, this was again 20 inches, and I'm just going to find the center. And we're just going to put that down here. Okay, so that's sort of the, I call this my little tendrils at the end. So it's just a little additional tail. The reason I like to put another tail like this is it's because you're putting some more of this color or this ribbon on your bow, but you're not actually making a loop. Does that make sense? So you don't have to, because sometimes this 4-inch ribbon is expensive, and then the less you can use of it in your bow, or trick the eye that you're using more than you really are, is really what we're doing. All right, let me put this over here. So now I'm going to use the same ribbon. This is 4 inches. We've cut 54 inches long. So 20 inches on this tail. This is 54 inches long. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with our little streamer going this way, and we're going to twist. I'm going to come out to the 8 inches. So you see on your little bow maker there's an 8-inch. If you're measuring out on the mat, you would go to 16. 8 on this, 16 on the mat. So what we're going to do is just fold this over till we measure out our 16 inches. So let's get this over here. Y'all, this feels like writing with my left hand when I try to make a bow on a bow machine, because I'm so used to hand tying. All right, so there's that. And you notice how I twisted? We've got our pretty side here, and then we want our back side over on this side, on our other side. All right, so we've just created one loop, right? Just one loop. And now what we want to do is create our other loops. We're just going to bring this forward, and we want to measure out again to the 8 inches right here. And we don't need to twist because this is the end of our tail. But we do want to push this down. Let me get this in a little bit better. The trick to the bow machine or bow makers of any kind is to keep this tight, keep this pushed down at all times. Let's see. I don't see your name, but it's a Mevo camera that I'm using. Okay, making sure I can see all the comments. Hello, Virginia in the house. How are you? Everybody got this much so far? So we've got 2 layers already of our bow. It's starting to look really pretty. So this will end up going this way. All right, so now we've got a little fan effect going on. The next one I'm going to do is use this stripe. This is 2.5 inch. This is measured out to 83 inches. All right, so our first layer was 20-inch tail, 54 inches for our 4-inch ribbon, and now we're using 2.5-inch stripe, and this is 83 inches. So remember, this came from Greenery Market, and I believe this came from Deco Exchange. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to start the same way. We're just going to create this little tail right here, and we're going to twist. Now, since we came out to 8 inches on our bow machine right here, we need to come in 1 more. So instead of 8, this layer, every ribbon is a new layer. So this layer, we're going to come out to 7 inches. So 7 inches on the bow maker, and then that would be 14 inches on a mat if you're hand tying. All right, so let me just push this out of the way. I'm just using my bow maker ruler to make that first loop. All right, so that's loop number 1, and you have to twist. I typically twist towards me, I believe. I don't know. Let me think about it. I know a lot of people ask, which way do you twist? So that one was twisted towards me. And now we're going to do our next layer, which is the 7-inch right here. I'm going to twist towards me. Okay, and then we're going to make 1 more. So we're going to do 4 loops of this. That's why it's 84 inches long. All right, measure it out, twist, measure it out. So we made 4 loops total. And we don't need to twist this because it's at the end of our tail. But we're going to push this down so you can see that we are starting to build up our bow. So with a bow maker, you create the bow from the bottom up. If you're hand tying, you have the option of creating from the bottom up or the top down. It's completely up to you. Let's get that looking a little bit better. All right, so there's that. Make sure our loops are about the same. Hello, Bonnie from Illinois. How are you? Greensboro's in the house. Wow, Kentucky. Is it cold there? Hey, Brenda. How is everyone? So this is so we've got our layer which kind of forms an X, right? And this was 83 inches using our 2.5 inch. We're also going to, the next layer, we're going to use another 2.5 inch. And this is the gold. This came also from Greenery Market. I love this, so pretty. We're just going to start our little tail, and we're going to twist. This is 45 inches. So this gold is 45 inches long. All right, we're just going to do 2 loops. So we don't want to do, we had our first layer was 8 inches, our second layer was 7, so our third layer is going to be, you guessed it, 6 inches. And we're going to make 1 more loop. Try to find that little ruler down here. Just 6 inches. And we don't need to twist because this is ending. We're just ending our tail. So this layer looks just like a little bow tie. Just a little bow tie right here. I wish we had some snow or sleet. We just got hot. I think I have to have the air on today. When you buy the bow maker, are the instructions for this exact bow included? Oh no, So you're buying the bow maker. You can make any bows that you want, any multitude. You can make a 1-ribbon bow, 3-ribbon bow, 5-ribbon bow. You can make all of the loops the exact same size, or you can do multiple layers coming in like I'm doing. So it's just a tool to get you started. So that's a great question. All right, so here we did this 2.5 inch on the gold, and it was 45 inches long. And you can see how it's starting to stack in on itself. The next one we're going to do is a 1.5 inch plaid that measures out 63 inches. So if I measured all of this out, the length, it'd be 63 inches. All right, we're going to start it the same way with a little tail, and then we're going to twist. This is going to be an X layer. So this is going to go to 5 inches. Our last one was at 6, so we're going to try to find the little 5 over there, which is right here. So here is the layer that we had before. I'm going to come in just a little bit more. All right. Twist. Twist. So we're making a loop, making one more loop. These are all the exact same length, so that's 5 inches. Twist. Do 5 inches on this last loop for this layer. And then that's going to go this way. Everybody with me so far? You see how we're just layering them on top of each other, alternating rabbit ears and then the X. All right, so now we're going to use our last ribbon, which is a 1.5 inch. Where is the best place to buy ribbon? The best place for me, I've found a local place here in the South Carolina area that I like to buy, but also I buy a lot online. And ribbon is the least expensive item that you add to your wreath, just so you know. Ribbon is inexpensive, and it is the least expensive item you add to your wreath. Now, there are some very quality, ribbons that this one is probably a little thicker, so it's probably be a little pricier versus this one, which is a 4 inch. And remember, we used this one on our teardrop swag that we made over the, was it yesterday or the day before? It's the same width, but you can see, I don't know, there's a big difference in the thickness. This one's just a little thinner, and this one's thicker. So there is some pricier ribbons out there, but you don't have to, get the real expensive stuff for it to make a big impact. All right, so we're using our 1.5 inch green. So this measures out 35 inches. So this is the last layer on our bow, making it on the machine. Could you? Yes, Millie, I'll come back in and write down the instructions. That's why I wrote it out for myself. All right, we're going to do our last bow, our last layer, and this is 35 inches, 1.5 inch wide ribbon. Start with our tail, just like we've been starting with all of them. And we are going to give a little twist. And so now we're going to come into 4 inches on our bow machine. So every one layer is 1 inch shorter. Okay, I think that looks good to me. And then this is the tricky part. We're going to have to pick all of this up without losing it. All right, so I'm going to use florist wire. If you want to use a pipe cleaner, you can use a pipe cleaner, whatever is easier for you. If you want to use zip tie, you can use a zip tie. You just need to make sure you leave enough room at the back of your zip tie to put wire or something in so that you can actually attach it to your project, to your door, to your mailbox, to your gate, or wherever you're attaching this. Bonnie says, so is any ribbon okay as long as it's wired? Yes, I believe so. Yes, any of this ribbon can work outside. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to lift this up, and this is very thick. So before I get it all the way off, let me go ahead and run some wire underneath. Y'all hear my husband coughing in there? He's got this cough that will not go away. All right, we're pulling this up. Just grabbing the wire. See how I'm pulling both pieces of the wire on the back side? Just getting that ready. All right. This is where I'm trying not to lose it, because this is very, very thick. All right, so before I tie it off, just move everything, fluff. I like to put the streamers to the back. Remember your little pattern that we had, you know, the X and then the rabbit ears. This goes over here. All right, and when you like the look, just turn it over like you're checking your watch. You're going to pull the bow towards you and then the wire away from you at the same time, and then I twist the bow. All right, so you could see that some of these streamers that are down on the bottom, I'm just going to move to the top. So let's move this one over here. And we're going to move this green on this side. This is why I like the wired ribbon, y'all, because it's going to get mashed many times. And don't be afraid to manhandle the bows. That needs to be a t-shirt right there. I manhandle my bows. Wouldn't that be funny? All right, I'm just going to trim this one a little bit shorter. And there we have it. Let's see. Let's put this guy over here. Pretty. Isn't that pretty? Very, very pretty. Okay, so now what we want to do, I'm going to show you how I would hand tie pretty much this exact same bow. I feel like this needs to move over that way a little bit. There. All right, so let me put this to the side. And I'm going to pull over the same ribbon. I'm not sure if I'm going to have the exact same. We'll see if I have enough. And instead of this, let's go ahead and grab this one. It's probably a little bit harder to work with because it seems to be very thin. Okay, and then we're going to get, let's see, we need 4-inch, and then we need the 2.5-inch, and then we have our gold 2.5-inch, and then we have our 1.5-inch plaid, Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do is make a little bit of a tail. So we said this is about 20 inches. Just going to trim that. I like bows too, Jackie. I just fold it over and do a little bit of a dovetail. All right, so here's our streamer that goes on the back. Everything I put into my bow or feed into my hand to form a bow, I use these 2 fingers. I don't, however, keep everything right here on the tips. As I add more ribbon, I gradually start moving the ribbon closer to my palm. So you'll see what I mean when I get started. All right, so we started with an 18-inch. Let's get this unrolled. It's easier if you just unroll into the floor. All right, so we're going to start with our 4-inch ribbon. Here we are going to feed it into our 2 fingers, just like this. All right, let me put it back over here. We're going to measure out 8 inches, so 8 and 8 is 16. So I'm going to come over to 16 on my mat, fold it in. This is why I'm talking about my ribbon is a little flimsier, so it doesn't fold as nice. All right, so there's our 8-inch 1 loop. Twist it away. If it's above your thumb, you're going to twist away from you. If it's below your thumb, you're going to twist towards you. So twist away from me, measure out, 8-inch loop, take it towards the back, and I'm pinching it in again to my 2 fingers. So what I do is I am pleating them into my 2 fingers. Every time I put ribbon in, it's almost like I'm forming this little pleat. All right, so we've got our 2 loops. I'm going to trim this. All right, so that's layer number 1. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make, this is going to be layer number 2. Hopefully I have enough. So we're going to measure this one down. It was 7 inches on our bow maker, so 14 inches here. I have to do the math really quick. So we create our first loop, and you'll notice it's beside it, but that's okay. We created our first loop. We're going to twist it away from us above our thumb, lay it down, and we're going to create our second loop. Pleat it into our 2 fingers, and we're going to twist towards us. This is one that gets 4 loops of the exact same. So I'm creating 4 loops with this ribbon. Twist at the end, and then trim. And now what we're going to do is, you see how it's not mixed up and it's not pretty like it was on the bow maker. The only thing you have to do is switch these over. Just move these over. And remember, when you make your bows by hand, you don't need to have a death grip on it. You just need to have it enough so that it doesn't fall out of your hand. Just hold it tight enough so it doesn't fall out. You still want to be able to move things and position things. All right, so you see how we've sort of made an X? Let's see. So that one was the 4, and we have an X formed with that. So now what we're going to do is move into our 2.5-inch gold. Doing the same recipe we just did with the bow maker. Let's see if I can get this unrolled a little bit. Okay, so we're going to pinch this into our hand, right beside where we had it. This is going to be 12 inches. So we're making a 6-inch loop, and it's not going to fold very easy. There. And then we're going to twist, make another 6-inch loop, take it to the back, twist, and then trim it off the bolt. All right, so this is our rabbit ear layer. It's going to go in the center. Just like that. All right, and we're going to use our 1.5 inch. Start it the same way. So this is a new layer. So instead of the 12, we're going to come to the 10 or 5 inches on your bow machine. So we're going to do 1, twist, 2, twist, 3, twist, 4, twist, and then trim off the bolt. And then here we're going to reposition our layers to form our X. Just like that. And remember, we ended it with our 1.5 inch green. So could you use a tutorial with the bow dabra? I don't really use the bow dabra. It's the same concept. So with the bow dabra, I don't even think I have one over here. You're just going to maybe lay it on a mat with the rulers, but you're going to use it the same exact tutorial that I used with this one at the beginning of the video. All right, so we're going to start with our little streamer. And now we're going to make these 8 inches. We just need 2. 1, twist, 2, and then trim. And these are the rabbit ears. Remember, they go on top of the X. So each layer is an X or a rabbit ears. That's how you know how to position it in your hand. All right, so once you like this, now at this point, I can add more little streamers to the back if I want to. So let's say I want to add another ribbon streamer of the green to bring some green to the back. I can add that behind. And I'm going to grab my florist wire. And I am going to check my watch. So just turn it over. All right, and we're just going to lift up our pointer finger to get our wire underneath. And we're just going to roll it around, pulling the wire through the center of the bow. And then before I tie everything off, I want to make sure these streamer parts are on the back of the bow and the loops are on the front. All right, and so when I like that, all I need to do is pull the bow towards my belly and then the ribbon away from me. I'm sorry, the wire away from me, and then twist the bow part. All right, and then here is when I come through with this bow style, and sorry, my throat. I move the streamers around, and then I trim these in a dovetail. For me, using my hands are just a lot easier. I can do it a lot faster, especially when I'm not, once you start doing it a lot, you get used to it. It's when you have to, when I'm, explaining it to you guys and giving you the measurements. Typically, if you keep practicing, you'll get to where you just eyeball instead of really measure. And it does take time. Practice does make perfect. Nobody can just go run a marathon. You have to practice. No matter what you want to be good at, you've got to practice. And so, I've been making bows for years now, and it's just something that's second nature to me. But it definitely was something I struggled with when I first started. Just going to move that around. So here is this bow that we made by hand. And then this bow that we made using the bow machine, the bow maker machine. All right, so then to price this for my Etsy shop, all I do is I take the price of the yardage for my ribbon, because you can see that I didn't necessarily use the whole roll of ribbon. So I usually just calculate it based off the yardage that I used, and that's how I create the price that I would list it for in my Etsy shop. I hope you guys found this useful. I hope you found this useful. I have a lot more bow making tutorials on my website, southerncharmwreaths.com. Go just type in the word for search bow. We do a lot more like this bow making in our Wreath Making of the Month Club group. But again, I have some free stuff on our website. Just go to southerncharmwreaths.com, type in the word bow, and then return, and you'll get a lot more bow making tutorials. But I think this was fun. It turned out really pretty. You can see it was basically the same formula, but using the different colored ribbon, they turned out different colors. So this one is a little bit more deeper purple on the back, and then this one, which has got a lot of the plaid in it. So these are really pretty. I can't wait to use these on our project. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. If I missed your questions, I will come back in and answer them. I hope I inspired you to try something new and fun and festive with ribbon. I try to inspire you as much as I can with my God-given talent. So just give me a link below, or drop a line below, comment and let me know what you would like to see more of.